thing, and I said, snap, you say where you want me to move your website, boom, and I'll make it so nothing fundamentally would change in any of your businesses because you don't have a website problem, you have a traffic problem. So we realized that. So, okay, great. Now we have this fantastic website problem, but nobody has anybody coming to their websites. What's the next thing that we can fix? Well, obviously, we have to teach folks how to market so that they can get more eyeballs in front of their art. So we started in on that path, and it started out, with the DIY, learn at your own pace, video, photo tutorials, how to run a sale, how to email market. Here's the template language, how to run Facebook ads, how to do a live art show, how to incorporate digital lead generation techniques into in-person fairs and shows, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we learned the same lesson that anybody that makes digital courses learns, which is everybody signs up for a digital course and then nobody ever finishes it. The stats are terrible. It doesn't matter if it's Masterclass or Kajabi or lynda.com or any of them. Between 25 and 30% of the people that start those classes ever end up finishing them because nobody likes to learn in isolation in a vacuum at their own pace. Very few people anyway. So from there, we're like, okay, what's the next thing that we have to do? And so we really ramped up our support department, and our support department was insane, and it would open tickets, and it would take phone calls, and it would fix your problem, whether you had a website problem, whether you had a Facebook problem or an Instagram problem. And our customers will really feel supported. And then we started a Facebook group, private Facebook group for all our customers to be in there, to help one another, to post their wins, to keep people encouraged. And that was good. And then COVID hit, and we're like, okay, things are about to get serious here. We're really going to have to ramp it up to the next level. And that's when we started doing Zoom sessions, just like this one, except internally for customers. We call them office hours. And so we have this product called the Art Marketing Calendar internally, and it tells you what to do 365 days a year. How often to post, when to run sales, how to contemplate the discounts, how to turn all that stuff out and off and go back to normal marketing. Covers the entire year. And we would have these office hour sessions where we'd teach the thing that was coming up, like, hey, Father's Day's coming up. Here's how we run the Father's Day sale. Here's what we think you should do in terms of a discount. Here's how many times you should email, how many times you should post, when you should email, what you should do during, and then open it up for Q&A. It's basically just like in-person classes, university level classes taught by myself, the CEO, some other members of my marketing team. And that was really, really good. We made a ton of progress with that, and I think we're certainly one of the only companies I know in the space that does it with the frequency that we do it. We do it like 5 and sometimes 6 days a week even now. Then from there, we realized even all of that is not enough. Artists and photographers, by and large, are not the most tech-savvy bunch. They don't like working on tech-savvy stuff. They're somewhat tech-challenged. So we realized that our customers are wasting a ton of time building their own websites. So we need to build them for them. And so before, we used to say, here's this incredible website technology. Here's how you build it. Good luck. If you get stuck, let us know about it. Now it's, nope, we're going to build it for you because I don't want you wasting a single solitary minute on HTML or CSS or coding for dummies or searching forums or opening tickets. Huge waste of your time building a website. So now you let our people know. They take care of all of it, how to do anything, how to sort it all. Then we're like, okay, that was a really good idea. We made a ton of progress with that. What else can we do? So not only do we build the websites now, we also have the ability for you never have to touch your website ever again. And we call it tech assistance. And essentially it means anytime you need to change anything, add a new series, update prices, update your about need page, add another page. You tell our people, they do it. They do it for you. And at the end of that, we made some really, really good progress. I feel like, if you polled the majority of our customer base, they would say they're making more progress than they ever have before, that they're making more sales than they ever have before. If they have an artwork or a subject matter material that is not necessarily selling, we taught them how to expand their minds, how to contemplate testing new subject matter material, which, by the way, is an utterly, totally, and completely normal thing to happen with both photographers and artists. I can do a rant on that in a second. And where was I going with that? Oh, so we were making great progress, but were we completely solving the starving artist problem? No, not at all. There was still a tremendous amount of work to do. There's still some people that were falling behind. There were still some people stuck with tech. And we realized in the last year that we're still not solving the main problem. And the main problem is doing the marketing for you. And the reason that doing the marketing for you is the main problem is a number of reasons. But what we found out is, even with the fancy website and the DIY education and the group support, the moral support, the in-person teaching, the calendar, and everything else, that the majority of our customers were not running the sales and marketing campaigns that we advocated to the full of their ability. Life happens. You change language that you don't understand, has unique nuance to it, and it really, really works. You go on vacation, someone in your family gets sick, and all of these reasons pile up and why people would not be consistent. And so in the last 3 months, we invented this thing called Copilot, what we're calling Copilot. And it essentially, our software connects to your Facebook account, your Instagram account, and then it acts as an ESP, kind of like a MailChimp or a Constant Contact or a Drip. And so it sends emails on your behalf. And for the last 3 months, we have about, I don't know, I think like 25% of our customer base that's on this. We're running all of the marketing that we can do without them having to be present automatically. So we're running sales campaigns, and we're doing flash sales, and we're posting on a regular basis and handling the hashtags and sending the emails and doing all of that. And that's been the biggest fundamental shift we've ever seen. We track this metric. We call it print revenue, but it's just essentially the total sum of all sales on our websites directly to customers. And over the last 7-8 weeks, we're seeing year-over-year growth that should just not even be possible in what would most people would call 2023 a down economic time, potentially even a recession. And hearing me say that, you might have some cynicism. That's fine. But what we found in all of that, it's not like some secret magical sauce or some incredible automated thing, this, that, or the other. It's really just consistency. No artist, no photographer I've ever seen, for the most part, is ever consistent with their marketing. They're just not. It's hard. Life happens. You don't like doing it. You don't want to run sales. There's a whole myriad of reasons why. But just by creating regular and consistent, never missing a day, never missing the post, sending more email, running sales when it's happening, we're witnessing some incredible, incredible growth in terms of revenue that our customers have been doing, and our customers have been doing on their sites. And I'll show some data in a second. In addition to that, what's been really, really interesting is before, we taught them how to market. We taught them how to run the sales. We said, is everybody following the calendar? Is everybody doing this? And inevitably after the fact, we have this group called Small Wins. It's the Facebook group, and everyone goes in there and they post their wins, right? To keep everybody encouraged, because this is a hard business, right? And you guys are all solopreneurs. It's helpful to see peers succeeding and buck you up and everything else. And we would get through a sale, and some people would celebrate their wins, and some people would be like, man, it was absolute crickets for me, right? Like, I didn't get anything. I haven't sold anything. I've been in this platform for 2 years, and I haven't sold anything. This is ridiculous. And what Copilot's allowing us to do now, because we have this large peer group all doing the same thing at the exact same time, you get to see who's selling well and who's not. And oftentimes the only difference between those two artists or those two photographers is the subject matter material. It is what they are creating from a subject matter material standpoint. And what's amazing about that is one of the things that's never discussed in this business, you don't learn it until you start studying the masters, is not everyone's chosen subject matter material is going to be a home run. Some of it might not even sell. It doesn't mean you're a crappy artist or a crappy photographer. It just means you have the wrong subject matter material. And you come to find out, when you start peeling back the layers of the onions, Pablo Picasso had 45,000 unsold works when he died. 45,000 unsold works. What that guy knew that most other artists didn't know is that this is a game of archery. It's how many arrows you fire at the target until you really, truly hit the home runs and ascend to the high highs. And so now we have this ability where, instead of waiting weeks and months and years and sometimes decades to find out whether or not the art you created will sell, now with Copilot, and as a result of it being consistently marketed for the first time in most people's lives, we know whether or not the work is going to sell. And it might not sell at all. It might sell okay, but not something that's mapping to their ambitions. And it might sell incredibly well or anything in between, but at least now for the first time you know. Because one of the most vicious cycles that I see artists and photographers go through, and I've talked to thousands over the years, is, and let me know if any of this rings a bell, You've created work. Everyone tells you that it's awesome, that you should sell it, that you should start a business, okay, that it's incredible work. You post it on the socials, and it gets all kinds of likes and comments and shares, right? Incredible sign. You got into a juried art show. You might even have won an award at a juried art show, right? You hear all of those things, and then nothing ever changes in the business, right? Because the reality is that you've never gotten the work in front of enough eyeballs to actually find out that it'll sell. And it ends up being this vicious cycle where artists and photographers create the work that they have. They never get it in front of enough eyeballs to know whether or not they have a product that will actually sell. Some period of time passes, and then they just go and create new work and forget that old stuff. And it piles up on the hard drive, or it piles up in the attic or the basement or wherever your storage is. And so Copilot is not only helping those that are already selling go to the next level and really increase their sales, but it's also helping others discover, like, hey, what you've created here, this body of work here, it's not 100% working right now. We need to try something else. And guess what? All artists and photographers go through this. Sometimes you don't hit a home run on one particular piece of subject matter material. It takes a little while, right? And I was just working up a blog post on this, and I'll give you a for instance. Now, this guy is not necessarily the best use case, the best comparison, because he's been at it for a while, and he's been a customer for a while, but he's a guy with a really interesting story. Like, I think the very first episode of the podcast, I have a podcast, it's called the Art Marketing Podcast. It's about this guy. But anyway, I want to scroll down and like give you, for instance, real numbers on what he potentially did. And so one of the things that Copilot does is it runs sales for you, right? And we know how to run sales. We're very good at running sales. We have a ton of experience. Most people think a sale is like, oh, I'm just going to send an email and post on Facebook and let everyone know that I'm having a sale. We do things quite a bit differently. We tease the sale. We announce the sale. A well-run sales campaign will have like 6 to 10 emails and 25 social posts, okay, if it runs a week. Trust me, I know no one's doing it. But he's got a good niche, this guy, Bill. He has been at it for a long, long time. He spent 10 years and like 375,000 miles on a van doing the fair and show circuit. And so he built up a list. He's got some clout. He's got some people that knows him. This was the Mother's Day sale that he ran in 2022. So he did $3,700 in sales for that sale. $942 of that revenue is from new customers. $2,763 from existing customers. On Copilot, when we took over the sale for him, he did, this is 2023, he did $8,000 in sales, $5,200 of which is new customer revenue, $2,800 of it is existing customer revenue. And that's just one sale, right? It's 116% growth year over year, 452% growth year over year in terms of new customer revenue. And those are some of the results that we're starting to see. And it's been so incredibly exciting, because if you've been in this business for any length of time, you learn things. One of which is the whole business fundamentally at its core is driven by the number of collectors you have. A collector is to find somebody that will purchase an upwards of 7+ pieces of work over the course of a lifetime. And let me show you who I stole that from. Absolutely phenomenal book. Totally recommend all of you guys buy it. Unfortunately, you can't get it on Amazon. You have to buy it directly from his website. The he is Weiland, the whale guy. Most would say, if not number one, top 5 biggest selling artists in the entire United States, probably even bigger than that in the world. But anyway, he defines a collector, Weiland, as someone that buys 7+ pieces of work from him over the course of a lifetime. So he keeps creating, they keep coming back and back. We see similar results, albeit at a much smaller scale than Weiland, with artists that will come out with 20 new pieces, and before they've even given them to the public, 12 of them are gone because of their collector list. It's almost like the built-in base salary to a business. Okay, well, why am I bringing all that up? Why, and through the context of showing Bill's numbers. Okay, Mother's Day sale, one sale, right? It's just one sale. But let's say he acquired an additional 18 customers during that sale than he did before. Well, when you're in this business for any period of time, you realize the hardest thing to do is acquire a new customer, okay? The next easiest customer to get is the one that you already have, to get a customer to come back and purchase again. Regular and consistent marketing, some of them are going to turn into collectors, and that is the aforementioned base salary in this particular business. So really, really excited about what Copilot is doing and helping us unlock. And it essentially is taking care of all the marketing that we can do, for you, right? Which is primarily posting your work and primarily executing on the sales and doing all that to the best of our ability. What we can't do is all the personal stuff. And another fundamental learning that we've had over the years is that everyone thinks their business is dependent upon the work and just the quality of the work, right? But as it turns out, you guys are just as much a part of the brand as is the work. People buy work not just because they love the work. People buy work because they understand who the artist is, what makes them tick, what they're interested in. Are they dog people or cat people? Are they vegan? Do they like doing this? Do they like going sailing? Do they exercise all the time? That is how people get bonded. And so while we're over here doing the nuts and bolts business work, it's giving our customers, yes, more time to work on creating new work, but also more time to work on the personal stuff. Showing my process things, right? Sharing a little bit more about what makes them and their creative eye tick, revealing a little bit more of their personal life. And I'm not talking about, well, I'm at the coffee shop and this is what I had for breakfast this morning or any of that kind of nonsense. But, be a human being. Like, show a little bit about who you are, what makes you tick, and give people the opportunity to get bonded to you as an artist, which is critically, critically important. So that's what I got. That's my rant. And I'm worried because I see Robin is taking a nap during my rant, which is very sweet, by the way, Robin. I don't know if she's going to wake up. Can you see her? She was like dozing off. I'm like, all right, my dulcet tones got that job done. Hopefully it wasn't that boring to everyone else. But yeah, from there we can go to questions. Can ask anything about anything. I'm happy to talk about any and all of it. To see how it works, and I'm not going to pick on Robin. I'm going to stop her camera. So, okay. If you're one of the brave ones, okay, that has your camera on, I will see you. All you have to do is raise your hand. That lets me know you have a question, and I can bring you on. For everybody else, if you look at the bottom of your Zoom window here, there's this little reactions face, and it's a little smiley face with a plus on the side of it. If you click that, that gives you a way to raise your hand, digitally speaking, and then I can unmute you and bring you on. If you don't want to turn your camera on, you don't have to turn your camera on, okay? I hate being on video, but it's my job. I have to. So that's for me. And then you can also throw questions in the chat, which is down on the bottom of Zoom. I see those too. And then if you're one of the ones watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, I can see your questions as well, your comments as well. Yeah, Sage, took me 20 years until I found out that marketing was everything. It is everything. There's no two questions about that. But okay, I need one amongst you to be brave and kick us off. It always takes one brave one at first. All right, I'm going to go Catherine, then I'll go Rhiannon, okay? And David's got his hand up too. Okay, Catherine first. Rhiannon, we'll get you next. Go ahead.
Hi. Hi, guys. I've been listening to you for quite a while. I really enjoy the podcast. I'm from England.
Nice.
I'm an abstract.
Where in England are you from?
Well, Sheffield, it's near Manchester, basically. It's where the Full Monty was filmed.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Also, where Sheffield United play. So I'm a
at Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're very close to the Peak District. So yeah, it's all cool here. It's lovely. So I'm an abstract painter, and recently I've started doing a series of tropical paintings, which I actually feel will be a lot more popular. I've been doing abstract work for the last 2-3 years, and it's kind of my main passion, but I don't feel like it's really gained any traction. And I think in the last few years, it's become, as I've heard on many, many podcasts, that the algorithm's even harder. And it's sort of the growth seems to be a bit slower. Like I seem to be stuck at 560 followers. A couple of years ago, I was stuck at 300. I don't really want to do any kind of false advertising or sponsored posts. I don't really know if I feel like that's a genuine way to get new followers. I'm very old fashioned like that. Maybe I should just sort of go for it a little bit more.
No, you're not ready. And the 11th commandment in digital marketing is thou shalt not boost posts under any circumstances. You might as well go out in the backyard and light that money on fire. At least you'll get some heat from it. Boosting posts is not a way.
Yeah, I found that with my old business, I had a handbag business for 13 years, and so I have experience in sort of digital marketing, but now it comes to selling art, it feels like I just don't know anything at all, and it's obviously a very different product. It's more expensive, but I just kind of feel like I need to create some kind of digital sales funnel, depending, and like you say, reverse engineering from my actual thing. So I think with my tropical work, it could go into licensing. So then you could have sort of an application and I listened to another podcast the other day, and they said, what about like hotels, restaurants, things like that? So I was dreaming and thinking, oh, a
Yeah.
Hawaiian bar or restaurant or hotel chain, and I could speak to interior designers. And
Yeah.
so there's all these kinds of like strands to the business that I can see happening. And now I'm working much larger scale. Like, so now this weekend I've been painting a large 5 foot squared piece, and I'm thinking, well, that's going to be in, much larger homes and things like that. So
Where you
and
got
and just
where you got to start is at the very beginning. So, have we
yeah,
sold any of the work to people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, family, friends?
I've sold 2 pieces of my
Okay.
original work and 0 prints, and I'm just really just feeling like I'm always doing something wrong, and it's such a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
But you just keep going, and
You do.
I had an
You
open.
100% do, and that's the right attitude that you have, and I love you
You
saying
have
that.
to just kind of, I know you have to throw lots of poo at the wall, and some of it will eventually stick.
Yes.
That's like,
Yes.
just that. I've always struggled with consistency in general, and I have ADHD, but I know that I've got to just remove myself out of that and just kind of keep smiling, keep showing up, and yeah, I just kind of want to create genuine content, but I don't want it to fall on deaf ears, and I just kind of feel like I'm missing a trick somehow, and I think that's just frustrating. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it's
What I would recommend you do first and foremost is try to get yourself into a local fair and show. Okay. And
I
just I
yeah,
think
I did a local fair
and how'd that go?
in my house. I
Mm-hmm.
turned my whole house into an art gallery.
Mm-hmm.
And sadly, the Sheffield art scene isn't quite as buzzing as, say, Brighton or
Yeah.
London
Mm-hmm.
or, say, Manchester. Like, they have really, really, huge artists who have 20, 60,000 followers plus, selling art from their luxury homes in Brighton. And
Mm-hmm.
just so many people, local celebrities, all kinds of people come in. But here it was like 2 old ladies, and they wanted to know where my card supplier was from,
Yeah.
and they're, and it was just not the place to sell art. And I
Yeah.
felt like I was tidying my house basically to show my friends around. All my friends came, brilliant, and they supported me and bought cards, but that does not a career make.
No, that's for
So
sure.
I've
But
got
good for
into
you. But good for you for
yeah,
doing
I've
it.
got into a London art show just recently, so
Mm-hmm.
that's in October, and that's for 4 days. So that's a good sort of. It's run by artists, but it's quite a prestigious one, and some bloggers make reviews on that. So I
Good.
think it's quite subsidised fee wise. So it's not, normally they're £2,000 plus.
Jeez, yeah,
It
that's
would
a lot.
take me a year to recover from that financially if I didn't make that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just realize now just how expensive fairs are, and that the importance really is on creating that incredible sales funnel, getting eyeballs
Did
on
you
things through
have you listened?
Pinterest.
So you listen to the
But
podcast. Have you listened to the guide that I put together for that? So it's
for
called
the sales,
the ultimate guide to shows and fairs.
yes, I did. Yes, I did. It was
Okay.
very good.
Okay.
Yes,
Good.
and you were saying that you can't just go to one fair and expect it to
Yes.
go well. You have to do
Yes.
like 7 or 8 and just keep going, and then you have some.
It's
What
a
was it?
hundred.
Something about your average sort of sale order value or something. Your average lifetime customer, they might not buy something that first year, but 3 or 4 years time,
Exactly.
then they might.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like a 5 year game. Go to them for 5 years. Don't take too many silly risks financially. But yeah, you had some really, really good advice about fairs. So that encouraged me to go to fairs. So
It's
thanks
super
for that.
super important to have that context. But
Yeah, I think
but
that is
you're
your passion, isn't it? That's kind of like, the people that you're investing in who might potentially become your collectors, and work is always so much better in person, isn't it, as well?
yes. There's nothing better than in person. Second only by video, as you heard me rant about. But I think you need to find out if the work will sell. It sounds like you're doing the
Yeah.
marketing already, which is great. You don't
Mm,
know what you don't know, so you need to get out there and get it in front of enough eyeballs to figure out whether or not the product you're on currently is working, right? And
yeah.
one of the really interesting things too that we're discovering with Copilot is that our software essentially connects to everything that the artists have ever created on our websites, right? And our
Mhm.
algorithm sorts through the images just sort of at random. And what we're finding is that a lot of our artists are getting sales in the stuff that they were no longer actively promoting because no one ever saw them. No one ever saw that work, right? There's
You have to show it quite a few times. I was thinking,
yeah,
oh,
but
I followed them
it's
times,
also
but
like
I
when you
I'm
go and see a
never found
band,
that idea now.
You know, when you go and see a band and they
Yeah.
only want to play their new stuff instead of the old stuff, it's like sometimes the old stuff is what everybody wants, right?
That's
And
it.
you,
I mean, imagine. I always say to my friends, imagine being that musician playing the same track 100 times, but everyone's just like,
yeah,
like a football game. That's what they want to hear, isn't it? So
correct.
it's the same thing. You've got to, like, I don't know, Warhol with his Marilyn Monroe's, but he did so many other pieces of artwork. But we sort of remember the ones that are sort of shown to us the most, I guess. But
Yeah,
and I think that's my fear is that danger of the commercialization of it, that feeling like you're selling out. But if you're not making any money at all, how can you be selling out?
exactly right, exactly
So
right.
you got to like, yeah, stop eating beans at some point.
That's for sure. Well,
Yeah.
you sound like you're on the right path. I'm not worried
Yeah.
about you at all if you keep grinding. Just
I'm just sort of trying to. Something I'm working on now is just having the courage to be a bit more visible,
mhm.
and that's something that I've really struggled with. And I think a lot of artists do, obviously, but there are some people out there who just got so many thousands of followers, and they're making these immaculate reels all the time.
Do
And
you
I
know
just
what?
think,
Do you know
how
what's crazy though? I've got.
how can time to make so much content?
I know. I know.
I
I say this all the time though, but I have customers that have less than 5,000 followers on Instagram that outsell people that have over 1 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah, a lot of them are fluff. I realise now, and
Hmm.
a lot of them are doing very similar versions of the same
Yeah.
picture because obviously they can't sustain that level of pressure.
Yeah.
And
It's a
then
lot.
one of them complaining of burnout. So I get it. And also, it's you can have quite a good income from much smaller followers. They could be higher value. You just never know, really, do you? So
No.
yeah, so anyway, it's all good advice, and I really enjoyed the podcast and what you're doing, and your business seems like a really interesting way to help artists. So thank you for the good work that you do in the world. That's great.
Oh, awesome. Good. And keep listening. Keep listening to it, Catherine. Come back and give me a progress report. Okay, it's gonna go Rhiannon, David, and then Brownwin. Okay, go Rhiannon. Yours.
Okay, so I have a gallery we just started. I'm an artist. My husband is an artist,
Mhm.
and we launched an online gallery a year ago.
Mhm.
We have 5 artists with room for 12, and we're growing. We have some artists that are overseas.
Okay.
So my question is, with the fulfillment centers that you guys are partnered with,
Mhm.
are we able to ship overseas or to facilitate artists who are overseas?
Yes. The good news is that so, and this is a multifaceted answer. So I gotta break it down in a couple of points, and then I have some curious questions about your gallery. Because the two that we partnered with are one on the West Coast is Bay Photo, on the East Coast it's a company called Graphic Dimensions. They both do, I don't know, $35 to $50 million worth of business a year, and so that business translates into significantly lower rates at both the domestic and international carriers. And so in terms of the shipping prices that you would get, you're going to get way cheaper prices than somebody that just walked off the street because of the volume discount. So yes, it does take care of it in those scenarios. That's number one. Number two, and thank God for this one, art has not been Amazonified yet. And what do I mean by that? The expectation is not that art ships for free. We have literally almost 100% of our customer base, aside from the ones that decide to raise their prices and include the shipping, we have almost 100% of our customer base charging for shipping and not getting any blowback at it whatsoever. If you do, sometimes it helps to raise your prices a little bit so you can eat the shipping if that's what it takes to get the deal over the line. But yes, you can absolutely do that. Now, Europe, all good. Mexico, Central America, case by case basis. Some of those countries are great with shipping. Some of them are not. Like Mexico's terrible. Our Asian and Australian, New Zealand customers, they use us for all their domestic North American orders, and then they get their own printer in either Australia or New Zealand where they are, just to not have to ship it halfway across the world. So there are some individual, unique case by case situations there, but at the end of the day, it's all academic. It's a problem when you're getting 55 orders a week, right? It's not a problem when you're getting 2 a month, right? Like you can sort any of those things out. Like one of the things people love to get wrapped up into the shipping all the time. Well, I got to figure out the shipping and I'll just get things sorted when I'm shipping. I'm like, you got one problem: selling the artwork. That is hard. Everything else, really easy, right? Really easy in comparison. So yes, you can, and don't get wound up in it. It's an easy thing to sort.
Okay.
Very good. Now, multiple different artists in a gallery. Any plans to do brick and mortar, or it's always going to be online?
My plan is that it will always be online.
And are you doing a 50-50 revenue split with them?
Yep.
Are you going to let them know who purchased the work?
I believe so, yes. So the plan right now is that the original pieces will be shipped by the artist from their studio, so that we don't have to deal with having them ship their work to
100%.
us.
Yeah, of course. But that's an interesting, I think, angle to it all, right? Because a 50-50 revenue split and not letting the artist know who purchased the work is a death knell for any artist. It's terrible because the longevity in this business, aside from the unicorns, okay, the unicorns are, the literally the 0.5% of artists that are in galleries that are selling over 6 figures a year and kill it. Then there's everyone else, right? Which is pretty much all scratching to make a living. If you are taking the 50% revenue haircut as an artist and you don't know who's purchasing your work, you have no chance to market to that person in the future. It's a death knell and it's hard. But if you're doing it online, I would lead with the fact that you're giving them the information on who purchased their work, because that's a huge incentive.
Sure.
A massive incentive, I would say. So something to contemplate.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. Okay, it's going to go David and then Brownwin. Go ahead, David.
So I hear you talking about social media followings,
yeah,
and like turning it into revenue. It's challenging. I've got almost just on TikTok 1.1 million. It's around 12,000, and to turn that into revenue has been really challenging. Okay, so I mean,
let's break that down.
Create amazing works of art, but they're fucking vastly expensive.
Yes, and really hard to ship. That thing is killer.
They're easy to no ship. It's easy to ship. We create them like. I make stuff from as small as like this to as large as say like that, but like that stuff's not for a lot of it's. I'm that artist that's hard on getting stuff sold, right? Because it's an emotional attachment. But I've got all this sea life, like the sea life collection right now that we just launched, and price ranges are between, I'm going to say 10 and 20,000.
Yeah.
Right.
It makes your business so much harder, so much more unique. Now, I think. Well, first I want to talk about TikTok versus Instagram, and then I want to get back to where you are price wise, and then we'll move from there. TikTok is utter, total, and complete bullshit. Every one of those views, likes, and comments and shares are inflated to hell and mean absolutely no one. I know of not a damn artist or a photographer that have managed to monetize TikTok in the slightest, which tells me all those followers are bullshit. I occasionally hear of a story of people getting sales over the line, but it is pathetically low. And so I think, the one thing I always say, there's no button on the ATM machine for likes or comments or shares or view count, is there? There's not, because it doesn't exist, right?
There's monetization levels. Like I've exceeded most people on that platform is, and I mean,
you should be proud of it. It's still really good street cred, but it doesn't, as you can say, street cred is not what's going to, keep the lights on in your shop.
No.
Right. Instagram, on the other hand, is a great one. But what I found is most of the folks that are in your shoes, by which I mean high price point, high ticket sales, there's essentially like a general rule of thumb with maybe, Tesla breaking it. Once the purchase price goes over a certain threshold, the expectation is that sale takes place over the phone or in person or face to face, right? Not like they're going to just come to your website and check out and buy something. So once you know that, that's hugely helpful, right? The other difficulty about what you do is all of us need a range of pricing, right? And I don't know if you heard me ranting about it earlier, but it's like the hardest thing to do, especially in today's fragmented social low open rate email, is acquire a customer, okay? It's the hardest thing to do. And then the next easiest is to get that customer to come back and buy again. So, I always rant about the socioeconomic bell curve, right? Like, low-income folks, middle-income folks, high-net-worth individuals. You only have prices for the high-net-worth individuals, which is, for the most part, right? Because it starts at, what did you say, 5,000?
Oh, no, like just on that collection. So I've got flowers and I've got stuff from basically $100 to...
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So how are you generating all your sales if not from social media?
Simply social media.
It is simply social media. Okay, so you're not doing.
I've got a gallery that wants my pieces in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know, Chris Rubis has got, I think he's got 7 or 9 galleries now. And they've asked to have the stuff there, but the splits are tough.
Yeah. I know they're super tough. And you
But
don't know who's purchasing it, which is really, really hard. After this is over, email me your IG handle. I'd like to take a look, and I can certainly give you some advice there. You're obviously doing, I imagine, a lot of your process in which people are oozing and on, and that's how you're getting the majority of your followers.
Oh yeah. And then I'm rewarded like TikTok, and I mean, I'm okay to share this stuff, but I made $120,000 on TikTok in the last 2 years.
Okay, well, you're the only person I've heard of that's made any money. You're talking about that they paid you for creating content, or in sales generated?
I have an amazing community that if I want to do something, they step.
And so, is that direct piece sales that they see that you're creating, or that's like
this is just like donations, gifts. This is and again, I don't understand it as well as most people should. I'm proud of what I've accomplished, and I believe my community wants to see me create this zoo-like attraction, right? Where this stuff goes on display and it goes into the AGO, or it goes into the Toronto Zoo, Calgary Zoo, and sit there and people get to come and admire it for years to come.
Yeah. So it's almost like you have benefactors. It's almost like you've got a, like what am I blanking on the name? Patreon situation going on.
Yeah, so pretty much.
They're just supporting you. They're just supporting you. They're not even purchasing the work necessarily. No,
and that's why it's like a conversation changes. Like I don't understand, because there's people that will support me, but they don't want anything, right? They just want support, and it's going to be successful.
Yeah, this is amazing. Okay, I definitely. So after this whole follow up, well, just give it to me. Give it to me now. I'm gonna write it down. Hold
on. The Upcycler. So it's TheeupCycler.
Hold on. I gotta be.
Are you in Edmonton?
No, are you kidding me? I'm in Newport Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd freeze my butt off out there. So okay, so give it to me. The Upcycler. Tell me again.
Yeah, TheeupCycler.
Okay, I'm gonna check yours up, and I'm gonna send you some follow up thoughts.
Okay, I appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, I just popped on. It came up on my Instagram, and I'm like, you know what the hell? What's it gonna harm to jump in here and hear a different perspective, right?
Yeah, super important.
So,
have you taken anything of value out of it so far?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, you guys are, like, again, the biggest keys that I find for myself as an artist is I'm a creator. I want to create. I can create video content. I can create all of that creativeness that's there. But when it comes to running the back end of my business, which is, the number one is I'm an artist. I don't want a business. I want somebody else to manage my business.
Yeah.
And then I just want to reap the rewards of it. So, I know we're all going to reap the rewards.
Yeah. But you realize that every artist on the planet just wants to create and have somebody else take care of everything else.
Yeah, and like when I met Chris Rubis, and I don't know if you guys are aware of who he is. He's the abstract sensualist. He's another prolific artist in today's day and age. But his manager, David, he's like, I'm the guy that removes the emotion from your work that you do. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you leave your emotion there, you're never going to sell a fucking thing.
That's so true. It's okay. It's okay. That it slipped through quickly enough. It's so true, and it's like, everyone and my customers are some of the biggest violators of this. Okay, they say, I want to have a big business and a business that's growing every single solitary year, but their actions do not map to the ambitions because they can't get the emotion out of it, right? Like, case in point, like, do you ever run sales on your work? 5%, 10%, 20% off?
We've tried it, and to no avail. And you talk about promoting ads. The biggest waste of money I've ever done is promote an ad.
Boosting posts. You could, given your following count, I don't know what size your email list is, but you need to get going on that. But you should be running warm ads on Facebook and Instagram. But that gets done on the back end by someone that knows what they're doing, not that stupid slot machine button that says boost post on the front.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly it. It comes down to hashtags and some monetization things that are available to it. And I've got friends on socials, and I wanna share this with the people in this live or in this room. And one of my best friends on social media made $85,000 making videos on Facebook alone in 1 month last year.
Getting in the partner program or whatever.
Yeah, well, no, it's just he monetized on Facebook and it's crazy how much you can monetize on social platforms right now.
Yeah.
And people love art. We heard the lady speak at first, it's like people don't like, it's hard to break that market. And once you start to grow, it proliferates. It's like anything.
For sure. And if you have a community, like, you've got that community of followers already, you have to figure it's incumbent upon the artist to figure out the creative ways to enable themselves to monetize it, and it's not super easy. Like we have a customer that's like a famous wildlife photographer, and his following is massive. But the problem is that they're all over every single solitary country on the planet, and many of them are living, below the poverty line, or slightly above the poverty line. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do in that scenario, right? Just because you have 1 million followers doesn't mean anything. Right.
Exactly. And that's when you say that, like that's I feel like part of my following is in that niche, right? We've got that niche market, and it's opening up every day. We get new people coming in. I get new customers coming that'll spend $500, $1,000.
Yeah.
But I just want to launch that to be able to make enough money to not have to do what we're doing on social media, and just create the content and create art.
Yes. Okay.
So
I'm
stoked.
I'm gonna check your thing out, and I have your email because you're on here. So I'll track you down. And I'll send you some follow up.
Yep. Right. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thanks, Patrick. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, good talking. That was a super interesting story. All right, Bronwyn, you're up next.
Okay, so my problem is that, well, I don't have a problem in that I've, diversified with my work. I have different price points. I have a community. I've been in lots of exhibitions. I've had solo exhibitions. When I had money, when I was doing like a normal job, I could dump money into this.
Yes.
But I can't do that anymore since I'm a poor adjunct college professor.
Yes.
So my problem is money. I do have skills, in terms of, we spoke about this on the phone, web design. I have taken some business courses. I've read books, and I know that my problem is that I'm sort of stuck. I kind of know what I need to do. I've been eyeing art storefronts for a while, and I'd like to do it and go for it. But for me, I kind of need like a different kind of payment approach. I can't just I don't have the money right now.
Yeah, I got you.
Education's getting hit hard. I've had tons of classes canceled. COVID has disrupted everything. But I do sell stuff sometimes. And I know that I have people out there who like my work, who want my work. I'm even on, I don't know if anybody's heard of Loop Art. It's an app for your smart TV, and you can actually stream artwork. Yeah. So, I've gotten on there. I've done NFTs.
Which I bet you want all of that time back, don't you?
I actually haven't done a lot just because I was like, oh my God, I have to have 21 states for this one piece so that
NFTs are just not there yet. It's a huge waste of time for most artists.
Yeah. So I just have to financially get into it. And I'm in a place right now where I finally got Bronwyn.art as my domain.
Okay.
I've had Bronwyn photography forever with Bluehost. I need to, that contract is going to renew soon, and I don't want to renew it. I don't want to spend the money on multiple places to put my art. And, I've sold art on Facebook, but they restrict you. Even if you have a name of an image that sounds like it could be a bad image, they're going to ban that image from sale. So I don't want to be beholden to anyone. Yeah. I want to post my work. I want to sell it. And, it's just, I'm still, with teaching when the semesters are going, I don't have a lot of time.
For sure.
So,
you need to figure out how you can sign up. We're an absolute no-brainer for you. And, I think technically my job is to sell you guys on art storefronts, but most of the people that come on here realize that I don't really do the heavy sales pitch or any of the rest of that non-bullshit. But the reason that we charge what we charge is because we didn't have enough happy, satisfied customers with the product offering we had when we were cheaper.
Oh, I get it. Because I can see the help, and I'm like, oh my God, I need that.
Yeah, and this latest advancement, you know, it's the first time we've actually solved the real problem, right? And like my customers are going on vacation and getting sales, right? And now they're on vacation, and because we're marketing nonstop the entire time, they're getting sales, they're acquiring a new customer. That's a new customer they can continue to market to, that might come back and buy again. And it's like, we realize the only way that we're going to truly get our customers there is by doing the damn work ourselves, because life happens and all those aforementioned reasons. And so why do I bring all that up? You're going to spend the money regardless, whether it's wasted time, your time, years passing by, all the rest of it. And that's fundamentally how I feel. Like, I don't know how the hell else you make it as an artist in today's day and age, because you know, you have all these preconceived notions that I've been doing this for so long. And since COVID, I've been running essentially 3 of these things a week. And I've cycled through, I don't even know, it's a couple thousand artists a week in every single solitary week. And it's crickets that make it in the gallery model. The number is so small in terms of the total number of artists. And so what are you left with? It's like the amount of people that make it and are successful in the gallery model are kind of like the people that we know play sports versus who we know that are professional athletes. Like, that's what I feel like the number is. It's that small. Okay. What else is left? Well, you're either a road warrior. That's other successful ones that I've seen. You're a road warrior, means 15 to 40 shows a year, right? Every single solitary weekend. No one can do that. I mean, it just destroys you. It destroys your body. It destroys everything. It's a very hard life. Or you're selling direct, and you know that you have to build up this list and do this regular, consistent marketing. But I don't know how else you make it, right? Like, I honestly don't know how else you make it. And you know, the British gal earlier, I forget her name, I'm terrible with names. I was
Catherine?
Like, Catherine, thank you. I hope I can get into hotels or I can get a placement here or there. And what no one realizes is that, like, everyone is trying to get in published books that are going to get placed in hotels or here or there. Or interior decorators, that was the other thing she said. Do you know how those people find you? Regular and consistent marketing. You don't go and find them. They're bombarded 1,000 times to Sunday. So
well, they can find you at exhibitions too.
Yeah. But it's hard. The point is, it's hard, and I just don't.
It's more money.
Yeah.
You just keep spending money in all these other places, and
yeah. So, I feel your pain, but you do need to sign up. I'm serious. We'd help you. It's easier said than done.
I just need a payment plan.
Yeah. Who are you talking? I mean, the only thing we have is that like afterpay thing that everyone uses. You know, that like splits it up into like whatever it does. But I mean, is that really the best way to do it? I don't know. But I take your point. You know, you're busy, life is busy, and you're not going to want to teach for the rest of your life. And so at some point in time, you know, you have to see this business advancing so it can take over, right?
Yes, absolutely. I just know that this is the next step I have to take. It's just difficult right now.
Yeah,
so
I know, and we're in super weird economic times too. So there's
also. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I know.
This isn't the first time. I've been through this before in 2008 when the economy was crappy.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. Super weird. But you've already seen a demo. You've seen everything else, so you're just coming to say hi and just hear a little bit more.
Yeah.
Good. As a final, what do you teach? Just because I'm curious.
I teach photography.
Amazing.
So it's digital pretty much, but I do tutor. I will hopefully start tutoring more with analog, but I have a dark room so I can teach analog and digital.
Awesome. Yeah, we have, you know, we also like mega encourage our customers to like, you know, ferret out and contemplate any potential additional niches, additional products that they have, right? Like I've got photographers that have the service portion of their business. I've got photographers that take people into national parks and teach them how to do spectral photography, right? Like, you know, there's a whole myriad of various different revenue sources. Some people are selling classes. Some people are doing the I will paint your wedding live and da-da-da-da-da. But the point is, it's extremely helpful to cultivate some of these additional revenue sources and see what you can do, right? And selling classes or selling even Zoom classes is not a bad thing sometimes.
Drone work, but I don't know how to use my drone quite well enough.
Yeah. There's a lot to it. But thanks for showing up. Good questions, and thanks for being out there teaching.
Thank you.
Yeah. And hopefully this dumpster fire of an economy turns around. Okay, Gavin, you're up next.
Okay, I was more in. I'm fairly similar to most of the other people. I I paint, but not necessarily know what directions to go. I was inquiring about the costs for me to use Art Storefront. I've checked into it a few different times, but I was a bit skeptical until I saw a tattoo artist that I am familiar with using it.
Oh, nice. Was their experience positive?
Yeah, their experience was positive, and I loved how the website looked when I went on there. I've been trying to create. I work a full-time job too, so I don't really have the availability and time to put into designing a website per se. But art is something that
no one needs to be designing their own website because you guys will just screw it up. You're artists, you can't help it. Trust me.
Agreed.
The takeaway, and this is like a really, really important mental model is, if I was to ask you, what is the best experience to buy art? What physical location is the best experience that you can think of to buy art?
I honestly can't 100% answer that question.
So it's in an art gallery. Okay. And if you notice, every single solitary art gallery in the world and just about every single solitary museum in the world all look the same. You walk in there, and what is there? Plain white walls, the art on the wall, some proper lighting, and nothing else, right? And nothing else, because the whole experience is about to be taken in the art. Now, let's contrast that with how everyone builds their doggone websites with image sliders and fancy colors and fonts. If anyone saw the damn work, it would be a miracle. All we're attempting to do in the digital world is replicate what the paradigm has been for centuries in the real world. And that is the museum, right? That is the art gallery. So getting back to costs. And, one, I don't love the fact that we can't just publish it on our damn website. We do the sneaky thing where you have to fill out the button and which I don't love. I would love to change and update that model. The easiest way to think about what we do is website. Just like every other website company, we charge a monthly fee. And the other thing is we're an undergraduate university, postgraduate university that just teaches you guys how to market your entire lives and support you. So there's like a one-time fee to get into the college. You only pay once, that's it. And then there's a monthly website fee. I believe our lowest one-time fee to get in at this juncture is, don't hold me on it, are like $1,400, $1,500, $1,600. It's somewhere around there. And then the website is either $39, $49, or $59, something close to that, approaching. Again, you hear that and it's like instantaneous sticker shock, right? Like, oh my God, that's a lot of money. Like, you got to be kidding me. But again, the way that I explain it is, I think all artists and photographers pay it. They just pay it anyway, wasting time buying stupid courses, this, that, the other. And for us, we realize that, like, if we don't do everything that we say we're doing to customers, all we're going to end up with is not having a business and everyone canceling. And we have a very, very low cancellation rate, up until some growing pains recently, just because we finally hit like the 10,000 customer mark, and now we have to expand our support team a little bit. But if you look, we have very happy customers. It's like, you talk to the tattoo guy's stoked too, right? Because I feel like we're busting our asses to do everything that we can to stack the deck to give you guys the best odds, period, right? I'll meet you again too, don't worry, going. So that's what I would say, and all that.
So it sounds.
Yeah, crap. I just hit it again. I unmuted you.
That's what sparked. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, great. So that's what sparked my interest, was the initiative of what you all offered. It seemed like the entire ecosystem kind of creates. It kind of works for me. I don't really have to think about it much, right? I just have to create and move on with my day.
Yeah, I think like the most profound learning that we've had over the last 2 years, independent of how important the marketing and getting everyone to fix the marketing, is the emotional support is quite possibly the most important thing that we offer. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that happens, but primarily we're all in groups talking together, Zoom calls like this. You're on with your peers. Some people are like celebrating the highs. Some people are like, oh my gosh, I'm dying at the lows. And then everyone supports the people down on the lows. I mean, the whole thing's an emotional roller coaster. That's what being an entrepreneur is. But I found that it's like one of the most important things, because inevitably you guys are all on your own, right? Maybe you have a significant other, but they support you because they love you. They're not like in the business every day with you. And it's really hard. Like, you need the emotional piece as much as everything else. Like, you need to feel like you're supported, like people are like helping and pulling to get you going the same way. So it's kind of one of the interesting learnings of all of it, is like how important that is. And the other thing that I would say, and it's impossible not to take this cynically, but it's also true. I found that the larger, the more money you spend on something, and we also, you know, they try to like include 3 and 5 year deals. So there's some of these packages get like really, really big. Like some people spend like 10 or 11 or $12,000 with us. And the people that do that have effectively burned their boats. You know what I mean? And you notice the level of motivation coincides with how much money they spend. Again, you have to take it cynically. I mean, I feel cynical even saying it. But the point is, it's like, you know, if it's just like a $29 a month website fee or a $19 a month website fee, and you don't do anything for the month of March, you're like, it's $20. What do I care, right? But when you put that much money into it, you're like, there is no way in hell I'm not making this work, right? I am grinding this out, and I'm going to get it going. So that's one of the interesting things that we've seen as a result of it. You know.
Understood.
Yeah.
That was one of my main questions I wanted to ask. A lot of the other things got answered throughout your rant and while other individuals spoke. So I appreciate that. That was a lot of insight for me.
Yeah. What is the hint of accent I detect you have kicking around?
Oh, I'm from Jamaica. I live in the States though.
Nice.
Yeah, but I would love to.
Do you know we were playing you in soccer on the 24th?
Yeah, we probably end up beating us though. We don't have enough discipline, but it works
Mikel
out.
Antonio though, God, it's so good. There's some players I really like, but yeah.
Yeah. I would love the opportunity to maybe meet with you off air then, and then discuss the rest of the information, and then show. I don't really have much posted online on my current social media because I stopped for a while. I kind of gave up on it. Because it you know, you just like you mentioned earlier, you hear family members and such say they like your artwork. You try. I've done a few different shows and never really figured out the business aspect of it, right? Of how to sell it. But I also tattoo. I do art, and I'm also a photographer. So I guess I'm an artist on the whole, right?
Yeah.
But now I've finally organized all of my files. So I like to kind of go forward with that from there and speak with you afterwards.
Love it. Thanks, Gavin. Yeah, and I, you know, like one of the funny things that I like get all the time is like, there's like 15 different questions like this, but it's like, how many pieces is enough to launch with, right? That's like one of the most common ones I get, and I always answer the same way: one. And it doesn't matter if you launch with us. The whole point is you have to get started. Okay. You guys can't quit screwing around. You have to get the work in front of eyeballs and find out whether or not it'll sell. Because if it doesn't sell, you're on the wrong damn track, and you need to try a different subject matter material. But at least you know, right? And like everybody's like, I'll just get started when I have enough pieces, or I'll just get started when I figure out what my niche is, or I'll just get started when I've got my logo or my business account set up. And the minutes turn into hours, turn into days. How's that art business coming, right? And you can't capture the damn time back. Like, you know, the clock's ticking on all of us, right? You know, I'm such a sicko. I even bought one of these, like, I don't know how I could show it to you without really disrupting it, but I have one of these memento mori maps. Does anyone know what these things are? It's like a map where it like creates a grid of all the boxes of the weeks you have left in your life, and every single solitary time you get through the week, you have to scratch it off. I'm not going to pull it up. Well, maybe I will pull it up because it's just interesting. It's a super interesting way to contemplate living, but I like memento mori. It's like a Stoic tradition thing. Memento mori map. Oh, come on. Why can't I find one of these things? I just bought it. Memento mori map. Anyway, the point of the map. Did I have it spelled right? Yeah. Mori map for sale. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so a bunch of them are on Etsy, right? But it takes whatever your life expectancy is. You know, it's not like to you individually. It's like, okay, you're a male born on this year, you're gonna live that long. If you're female, and it automatically colors it all in for you, and then you kind of see how much of your life you have left. You know, and it's like live every day to the fullest, get going. But I feel like so many artists need one of those maps to just understand you got to get on it. You can't get the damn time back. Like you got to get on it and figure it out. And you know, routinely, and I say this all the time, routinely on these calls. And again, you know, almost 3 of these a week for like 3 years now. I took a little bit of time off in the middle, but I routinely had people in their 70s, 80s, 90s coming on these calls. I once had someone that was like 95 tell a 91-year-old guy to get busy, kid. You know, like you can't turn off how God made you guys or whoever you think made you, right? And it's one of the incredible things about being an artist or a photographer. You've got this thing going on for the rest of your life. It's amazing. You can't stop. It's purpose. And so even if you guys that are getting started in like your 60s or 70s, you still potentially have several decades left to get going. Get going, you know? And don't take it as a sales pitch. I don't care if you start with us, but you got to get going. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting there contemplating it, wondering all the what ifs, right? Like, you got to grind these things out. Anyway, I get fired up about that. But having the 96-year-old guy, whatever, tell the 91-year-old guy, get going, kid, really cracked me up. 96-year-old guy looked like he was like 75 too. I should have found out what that guy was doing lifestyle choices. But all right, I've talked myself into circles. Guys, I appreciate all of you. I'm going to send you a replay of this thing such that if you want to go back and pick up any of the individual bits and Bob's, you can check it out. What else? Affluent market selling. Yep. I'll check that guy out too. Doug, thanks for that. Thanks for that tip. But other than that, I appreciate all you guys. Appreciate all you guys coming. Good, fun, frank discussion. High level, great questions. I'll follow up on the follow-ups and hope to see you guys either on the inside. Oh, yeah. See, this is how terrible I am at my job. If you want to find out more information at Art Storefronts, there's a demo request button all over the thing. And if you click that, you fill it out, you give your details, they'll take you on like a 1-hour Zoom tour of all our bells and whistles and plans and packages, the back end, front end, all the rest of it. So you could certainly do that. And Lord knows we email enough. I mean, how bad do we email? Are you guys on the email list? It's a rhetorical question. I know most of you are because that's how you found out about this. But we email way too much. So I'll definitely be working on that. And then seeing you in the emails. But thank you guys. All have a great rest of your days. And